Just imagine once, you're walking in a busy afternoon in Manhattan, coffee in your hand, earphones on, lost in your own life. And right in front of you, on a bench, an old man is sitting, covering his face with both hands. He's crying. And on the ground in front of him lies a small stuffed toy, as if it too fell when he fell. And the people kept walking. A woman, a man, two tourists. Everyone saw it. Everyone ignored it. But then one person stopped. And this person was no ordinary man. This was the guy whose one glare made the world tremble, whose name alone ruined opponents' nights, whose fists didn't spare enemies even in their dreams. He stopped, he bent down, and he asked, "Are you okay?" Today, I'm going to tell you the full story, and I promise, until this ends, you won't take your eyes off the screen. Because this story isn't just about one meeting. There's a secret in it, a secret that was going to be remembered for a lifetime by 3 boys and 1 old man. And for a little girl who 4 days later opened a bag and found something inside that she had never even imagined. First, understand who Mike Tyson really is. And I'm asking, who is he, truly? Most people know Mike Tyson for only one thing: baddest man on the planet. The man who won the heavyweight championship in 1986 at the age of 20. The man who won his first 37 professional fights, 33 of them by knockout. That fighting machine about whom opponents said that stepping into the ring with him was a nightmare, exactly like a nightmare, because you knew when it would end, but until that moment came, you could do nothing. But there is another Mike Tyson, a Mike about whom not much is talked. That Mike Tyson who grew up in the poorest neighborhood of Brownsville, Brooklyn, whose father left the house, whose mother's relationship was so complicated that he called her not mom, but just that woman. That Mike who by the age of 13 had already been arrested 38 times. 38 times. A young child's life that was right on the edge of being completely destroyed until one person stopped it. Cus D'Amato, an old boxing trainer who said, "This kid will become a champion." And he did. But after becoming champion, Mike learned something else too. Something that isn't found in the ring. Something you only get when you look back at your life and ask yourself, why did all this happen? What was I? What am I? In one interview, Mike once said, "Whenever I go back to my old neighborhood, I realize I am nothing. Sometimes I think I am somebody, but when I go there, I understand I am nobody." This humility, this realization, this is exactly the thing that brought him to a street in Manhattan on that October afternoon. Mid-2000s, October, a gloomy Tuesday afternoon in Manhattan. Mike was coming out after finishing one of his business meetings. That time in his life was a special phase. He had left the boxing ring behind, and now he was trying to rebuild his life again. Endorsements, appearances, legal battles, a life that had been broken again and again and was piecing itself back together again and again. With him was his security guard, Marcus, 2 people, a 6-block walk, and the normal world of New York surrounding them. Then Mike heard that sound. Not words, just a sound, the kind you only make when the inner pain becomes so huge that even a scream doesn't come out. Just that one sound that pierces right into your chest. A bench, an old man, face hidden in his hands, shoulders trembling, and on the ground a fallen bag, and coming out of it, a small stuffed bear. Mike stopped and looked around. People were walking. No one cared. He walked toward the bench. Bending down, to the level of the old man's eyes, a world heavyweight champion bent low and said, "Hey, are you okay?" The old man looked up, about 78, 79 years old, white hair, thin frame, worn-out brown coat, and eyes that had been ignored so many times that even someone stopping felt wrong to him. "I'm okay," he said. A lie. Both of them knew it. "You're not okay," Mike said. Not with arrogance, not with force, just straight. What happened? And then the old man told him. 3 boys came from the corner, took my wallet. How much was in the wallet? The old man stayed quiet for a moment, as if giving this answer wasn't easy. Then he said, $60. $60. Enough till the end of the month. And then he said something else, the thing that hit Mike right in the heart. My 2 granddaughters are coming to meet me on Saturday. After 2 years, I wanted to be able to give them something small. I had already bought this bear. He looked at the fallen bear. Those $60 were for the little one. She's 7 years old. I can't come see the older one with something and leave the little one's hands empty. That just doesn't happen. He stopped, pressed his lips together. I know it sounds silly, an old man crying over $60. And Mike said just this, it's not silly. Mike picked up that stuffed bear from the ground, carefully, put it back into the bag. Then he stood up and looked in the direction the old man had pointed. Where exactly did those boys go? You don't need to. Where did they go? The old man pointed toward the next block. At the corner, there's a bodega. They were standing there. One of them was in a red hoodie. Mike looked at Marcus. One glance, that's all. Marcus understood. Stay with him. 40 seconds. That's all it took for Mike to find them. Right there, outside the bodega, all 3 standing and laughing. The one in the red hoodie was flipping through the old man's worn-out wallet. The other 2 were in dark jackets, all around 20 years old. They had that energy, the energy people have right after doing something wrong and no one has stopped them yet. Mike walked at a normal pace, no hurry, no drama. 10 feet. The red hoodie looked up. And then that sequence happened that occurs when someone realizes who's standing in front of them. First, confusion, then connection, then eyes widening. Yo, he said. Mike stopped, calm, measured, completely settled. Yo means you know who I am, he said. So this will be easy. That wallet belongs to an old man sitting on the bench at the corner. Give it to me now, walk away straight. That's it. 1 moment, 2 moments. The red hoodie looked at the wallet, then at Mike. Whatever calculation was running in his head, it ended very quickly. The wallet was in Mike's hand, $60 inside, safe. But Mike did something else, something different from just a push or a threat. He looked at all 3 and said, that man's 2 granddaughters are coming on Saturday, first time in 2 years. Those $60 were for a gift for the little one, so she doesn't feel left out in front of her sister. Silence. You took that from him. Nothing came out of the 3 mouths. You were 3 and 1 old man alone. That's not power. That's the complete opposite of power. Then, and this is the moment that makes this story immortal, he just said this. Go home, do something better with your life. He turned and walked back. No sound, no reply, just 3 young men facing the one thing they weren't prepared for, their own conscience. Friend, hold on for just a second. If this story stirred something inside you, a small jolt, or your eyes filled up, then that feeling isn't your reaction. That's the feeling of humanity itself. On this channel, we don't just tell stories. We search for those moments in people's lives when life did something unexpected. Subscribe, hit the bell too, so that more stories like this reach you directly. And please tell me in the comments below, has there ever been a moment in your life when a complete stranger won your heart? I personally read every single comment. Now let's go back, because this story isn't over yet. Mike went back to the bench. The old man was still sitting there. Marcus was standing beside him. When Mike handed the wallet back, with all $60 inside, the old man's hands were trembling. He looked at Mike. He wanted to say something, but the words wouldn't come out. Mike just said this, "Have a great time with them on Saturday." And then something else happened.
That little girl, the 7-year-old, the one the $60 was for, 4 days later, after Saturday, she received a shopping bag. Inside the bag was a toy, a bear. Was it the same one that had fallen on the ground? No. A new one, even better than the first. Because when Mike said goodbye to the old man, he had a quick word with Marcus, and that bag, that extra gift, reached the little girl from her grandfather. But that's not the real story. The real story is what happened the next Saturday with that old man, when his 2 granddaughters came, when they saw that their grandpa had gifts for both of them, when the little one picked up the bear and laughed, when that old man, whose eyes had been broken on a bench in Manhattan, smiled in that moment. No one saw that scene. There was no camera. No viral video was made, but that moment happened, and it only became possible because one man stopped and asked, "Are you okay?"
Now let's think. Those 3 boys didn't choose Mike Tyson. They went there because he wasn't the target. They just picked an easy mark. A lone old man. $60. Easy in, easy out. And Mike Tyson wasn't there because he's some superhero. He was there because he stopped and looked toward that bench while the whole world kept walking. This is the same Mike Tyson who at just 13 years old had already been arrested 38 times. Those 3 kids were around the same age he once was. He too must have come out of some alley having taken something from someone. He too must have snatched someone's belongings. The only difference is that there was a customato who whispered in his ear, "There's something more in you. There's something even better inside you." That day, on the streets of Manhattan, Mike Tyson became that customato for those 3 young men, the one he never had for himself. Go home. Do something better with your life. That line wasn't just for those 3, it was also for the Mike who once was those 3. And maybe, if you really think about it, that line is still relevant today. For you, for me, for something we've left behind, avoided, or missed because we too walked right past that bench without stopping. The question is simple. How many times have you stopped and asked, "Are you okay?" One thing very few people know about Mike Tyson, he himself says his greatest victory wasn't in the ring. He once said, "Kindness and compassion are so powerful." The man whose entire career was built on power ultimately learned that real power lies in stopping for someone, in hearing what the whole world isn't hearing, in bending down to someone's eye level and asking, "What happened?" That was today's story. If it reached you, if you felt something, then please share this video in a place where someone truly needs it. A friend, a family member, anyone who needed to hear this today. And in the comments, tell me, which moment in this story touched you the most? That bench moment or that final line, "Go home, do something better"? I'll be waiting. Definitely subscribe because next week, a story is coming that's even more unexpected. A moment the whole world saw, but whose real story no one has truly heard. Until then, take care of yourself, and the next time someone's sitting on a bench, stop. Just ask,